With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 2 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
In those countries where sun is very less, and if you don't expose yourself to sun, you got all kinds of diseases. Sun keeps you alive and healthy. So expose yourself to the sun.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
Dairy and meat are awful. When an animal is killed, they release stress hormones such as cortisol. When you eat these same animals, you consume the same hormones. And it definitely has an effect on people. Tyler Bate, vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English and Taiwanese or Formosan, with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian.
因那白样用白南族语教大家请安，我是忠诚高贵的白南族人，祝福你对四周的人所有慈悲善行，在天堂的恩典中得到了回报。请知影你照光了足多人的性命。白南族是台湾又叫做福尔摩沙，特有的原住民族之一。因住伫台东平原的西部山骹，甲台湾华东纵谷南边的冲积平原。自古以来，因建造干蓝色建筑的建筑工艺就足互人学乐的。干蓝色建筑是处理村里事务的所在。这类建筑物是台湾又叫做福尔摩沙原住民族群中上悬也是上大的结构之一。深具灵性的白南族人，成立万物皆有生灵。此外，因对大自然的尊重甲尊敬，所以大部分仪式拢和各种农作物的收获季节有关。因嘛拥有丰富的音乐遗产，做一了多位著名的现代音乐家。多年来，足多位白南族人得到了金曲奖，此奖时常奉俄罗斯华语世界的格莱美奖，其中包括阿妹张惠妹，伊奉称作是华语流行天后，以及陈建年和纪晓君，这两位是从部落的影响融入因的音乐中的出名流行音乐家。2010年12月，在杜拜国际展览中心举办第一届中东素食大会，邀请大众做伙探讨植物性的生活方式。活动由中东素食组织主办，由2010年中东天然有机产品店的赞助，阿拉伯联合大公国杜拜卫生局的合办。2天的活动提供了研讨会、专题座谈。全球各专家的影音信息放送，以及活力的素食大餐。此外，大会特别邀请青海无上师孙素者 透过时信的演讲，加遵守环保永续的实务选择。演讲之后，并向参加会议的人进行问答，并发表了阿拉伯文版的国际畅销册《真爱基母，我的鸟友兄弟》。在一个发表进前就已经销售1空。《真爱基母，我的鸟友兄弟》由阿布达比政府下属的阿布达比媒体公司附属的联合印刷和出版公司出版。
Be veg, go green to save the planet. Yo!
阮即马就邀请你做伙观赏第一届中东素食 Me Veg 大会。这场会议的第21集，2010年12月7日，伫阿拉伯联合大公国杜拜举行。美盐海德朴素素食者讲了日头对健康莫大的好处，以及对身体的治疗作用。
Have you seen the Spanish flag? Now, the world needs education. The Spanish flag is a beautiful flag. Anyway, don't worry about all that. What is written there is important. Plus, ultra. Plus in Latin means more. Ultra means beyond. More beyond. You know when this flag came? After Christopher Columbus found America. Before that, it was ne plus ultra. No more beyond. The Spanish believed that there is no land after them. They are the last people. They are the biggest people. They had a flag, of course, with this height, Gibraltars and this navy going up and down and things like that, the Hercules pillars, etc., etc. But the insignia said ne plus ultra. Today, science is in the ne plus ultra stage. There's nothing beyond us. All that we know. 2 into 2 is 4. 2 into 2 is 4, isn't it? And that's called ne plus ultra. No, science has to get out of that. Come to stage of plus ultra, because uncertainty principle of Werner Heisenberg. Have you heard of that? 1925 Nobel Prize for Physics. That's the only Nobel Prize worth its weight in gold. He said uncertainty principle. 2 into 3 may be 6 now, but later on 3 into 2 need not be 6. It's called the uncertainty principle, which is called butterfly effect. That's exactly what happens to doctors and patients. A patient comes to me, I check him up. I know a few parameters, I check that and say, you're fine, man, don't you worry, you're very fit. You come back after 5 years for a checkup, or 1 year for a checkup, or 6 months for a checkup, because I want him Bakra back again. But do you know what he's saying? He doesn't know at all. The next day, you may see that man's photo in the obituary column of a leading paper. This is called butterfly effect. You know, you see the television producing your weather. Tomorrow it will be rain in Dubai, day after tomorrow it will be very warm. It will never rain on that day. The man who discovered how to predict weathers, Edward Lorenz, very quickly found out that his predictions went wrong. But he didn't withdraw that. He only said, I have another hypothesis, butterfly effect. After I put all my data into my supercomputer, if a butterfly moves its wings in Beijing in China and disturbs the air, it could become a storm in New York and become a big Katrina, which I cannot calculate. Nobody can calculate. Nobody can predict the future. Don't believe doctors predicting the future. If they say you have cancer, you will die in 3 months, don't believe that. You may live 30 years, 40 years, and attend the doctor's funeral also. If any one of you want to know what's happening, routine checkup is dangerous. As long as you're fit, enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to compassionate, don't go to the doctor. Go to the doctor even if you have a headache, because don't take your medicines. But when you don't have nothing, don't you see the doctor. I always tell my students 3 things. Don't go to the hospital for health, preserving your health. Don't go to the court for justice, and don't go to the police for honor. But if somebody dishonors you, go and complain to the police. If somebody does injustice, you can go to the court. And if you are ill, go to the hospital. But never go to the hospital when you're well, because you become ill. Now, this is a study of the largest study of people who went for a regular checkup. People were asked to come for a checkup regularly for 20 years in Sweden. And the money was paid by the government. And they went for a checkup and every parameter was corrected. The other group, identical group, was told, do what you like. We couldn't care less. And you will be surprised. No, this is the intervened group. The group which had checkup. And at the end of 20 years, there are 3 times more death than the control group who did nothing. Then somebody said, oh, probably it is okay for other diseases. But heart disease, if you go for a checkup, you will certainly survive. Look at heart disease. Those who went for a regular checkup had twice the number of heart attacks than those who did not. Look at this hypertension. Everybody says, tightly control it with the drugs, one after another. It's okay for about 5 years, nothing happens because the drugs don't harm you. After that, tightly controlled fellows have got higher death rate. Next slide. You talk about cholesterol. This is the Gaussian distribution of cholesterols in those people who have heart disease. those people who don't have heart disease. Is there any difference? We created this myth called cholesterol kills. Actually, the recent study in French nursing home showed people who lived above 90 had their cholesterols in 700, 800 milligrams. Now, you see, young lady was asking me about bypass surgery. 84% of the bypass surgeries in America are done for money. Only 16% are done where the bypass surgery is needed. Of course, that doesn't change the world. Now, very interesting thing is, we have to look at the human body as a whole, not as a heart, brain, leg and all. Because every cell in the human body, of which I told you 10 to the power 14 cells are there, they all have different shapes. Brain cell looks different from the heart cell, but they all function alike. The brain cell, the heart cell, the lung cell, hand cell, leg cell, bone cell, all function alike. And how do they do that? They have a normal pattern. And they work on energy. Where does this energy come from? A very little part of that energy comes from what you eat. But the large part of it comes from the sun. That is why in those countries where sun is very less, and if you don't expose yourself to sun, you got all kinds of diseases. Sun keeps you alive and healthy. So expose yourself to the sun. Don't worry. Your skin doesn't become dark because the skin is different after 3 months. Don't you put chemicals on the skin to keep it white. Just leave it. 3 months later, you're white again. Supposing you're getting married, let's say. You go to the sun for about 3 months before the marriage, don't go. And get a nice complexion when you get married. Because the husband must say, she's not dark, she is very fair. But then, after marriage, you tell him, look, I'm fair because I didn't go to the sun, but I must go to the sun because without the sun, my bones will break after some time. Very interesting. And this, especially, I tell them, you see these Muslim houses have a big courtyard. Because ladies, when they go out, put the burqa, but when they come home, they can sit in the sun and get the sun. What thoughtful people our ancestors were. Today we have got concrete buildings where you sit inside, you don't get sun at all. Most of my elderly patients who have heart disease, I tell them the first treatment is morning 1 hour in the sun, evening 1 hour in the sun. You need not sit in the afternoon because the sun in India is very hot. 1 hour, they all walk about. Very nice. So this sun's energy is the thing that keeps you going. Now what do? This is the cell. And this is a cell structure here. All this is taught in the medical school. But what is not taught is, how does this work? This works because of this cytoplasm where there are 10,000 proteins. Each one of them is a transducer. It takes sun's energy, transduces it, gives it to the trunk to work. Now, this is called energy medicine. If you know how to adjust the energy, any disease, including cancer, can be treated. There are various types of energy medicine. I have no time to tell you that. But this was a gentleman, a friend of mine, who was working for NASA. He is a doctor, but a physicist too. He is an MD in medicine, PhD in physics. And he was used with NASA to see that people who go to the moon come back alive. And he had found out that the sun's energy used inside for exercise was the best way to keep them. So he had this small little device. He discovered this small little device, which is like a cell phone. I manufacture it in India, and this is very simple, which gives you concentrated sun's energy in a spot where you have any disease. Let us say somebody has a heart attack. I just put it on the chest, where the heart is. Just put it there. It's just as big as this. And leave it there. In 2 days' time, the man walks home, because the heart cells become normal again. Suppose somebody has a stroke. Put it on the head where the stroke is, and after 2 days, the muscles come back, they start talking, and they walk. I'll show you some patients. This man is Glenn Gordon. Very interesting thing. This is a very vital thing for which he had a patent, but he once called me, because we are very good friends for a number of years. He called me and said, you must come immediately to see me. He was calling me from the United States. I told him it's so difficult to come there. Now he said, no, you must come. So I went anyway. I met. He said, I'm going to give this to you. You manufacture it in India, do good to human beings. And I said, I can't afford it. He said, no patent money, free. Can you believe that? An American giving his patent and a vital thing, free. Anyway, to cut the long story short, 3 days later, he meets with a massive accident and dies. So it's some premonition. So this is the energy pattern. Another physicist in Stanford, William Tiller, he found out these are the various places where the energy transducers, you people who know yoga here, these are the chakras. And he has written a whole book on chakras, physics of chakras. Now, very interesting thing is in yoga, you do breathing exercise. A lot of people have a lot of ideas and you do breathing exercise, you become tranquil and all. I will give you a scientific idea. When you breathe in yoga breathing, you breathe for a short while, say 4 counts. And you breathe out as much as you can. Did you understand that? The idea is that you give your body a period of no oxygen, hypoxia, anoxia. You see those people living in the Himalayas, they live for 140 years because they don't get as much oxygen that you and I get. Did you get that? So too much of oxygen is not good for the system. So you must give periodic intermittent hypoxia. I'll tell you how to do that very simply. And if you did it every day, even if you have a heart disease, it gets reversed. So you see, stand like this, and now I can't talk because I had to take my hand off. Now, and then breathe in. You don't breathe in like this. That's bad breathing. You breathe in like this. Look at my tummy. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Look at my tummy now. You don't have to lift your hand. I'm just showing you your tummy, that's why. I have breathed in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Now what I do is, I breathe in. I don't have to lift my hand. I breathe in for a short while. Then breathe out. I'm breathing out. I'm not breathing in. I'm breathing out. Breathing out. I'm sitting in a chair. There is no chair. I'm breathing out. Breathing in. Now what did I do? I breathed in for 4 seconds and breathed out for about 20 seconds. For 20 seconds, I did not get oxygen. So I have intermittent hypoxemia. That's one thing. But the second thing is, I'm sitting like this. My hip joint, my knee joint, my ankle joint get so much of strength. You don't get arthritis. Plus, these muscles in the thigh, they get strengthened. So this is intermittent hypoxemia. Same thing happens in anuloma viloma. You breathe in, breathe out. That's the time you get hypoxia, which is a good stimulus for all the cells. So that's called pranayama. And now when your mind is happy, this is the picture of your own heart, how irregular the heart is. This is the heart rate in x-axis, same heart rate with a mathematical delay in the y-axis. Now when you get a heart disease, this is what happens. See here, the heart hardly changes its rhythm. This is called a regular heart. And if your heart is absolutely regular, you will die. This man died 3 hours after this picture was taken. Now we have done something more in the last 25 years. We have expanded that. This is the mathematics. I am not going into that. It's called the continuous wavelet pattern. You see this irregular pattern? That is health. You see the next one? This is death. Very interestingly, we have done a lot of work on breathing methods to see how the heart becomes normal. Next is the immune boosters. Vegetables, Ayurvedic, Panchakarma, and so many other things. Now to publish all this, we have a journal, which is an international journal. And we have 15 people. If you see the names, they're all Nobel laureates and who's who in science. Now, this journal was launched in 2005. And you see here, this is Rustum Roy. This is a great American doctor who is a Nobel laureate. Here is a Nobel laureate who is the present president of the Max Planck Institute and a villager here. And this is our journal. You see this boy here. This is Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute with the terminal leukemia. And they discharged him. And here he is after 3 days of treatment with our energy medicine. Now the whole energy comes from the sun. And that sun's energy is given in this. Now here is a surgeon who had 3 heart attacks, 2 bypass surgeries, could not get up from bed. And 2 days after this machine, 2 years now, he is fine. You see here, this is a police officer, senior police officer in India. He had a large abscess here and the whole thing was pus. And he was a diabetic and the foot has to be amputated. He didn't want that. So we cleaned that stuff and then put our machine there. And you see after 3 months, he has got a normal foot again. Here is a lady who had a block. She was asking, what happens when a block? There's a block completely here in the aorta. Just after the kidney things have come off. You look at the kidneys, they don't have a shape. Half the kidney doesn't get blood supply at all. So I put the machine on her umbilicus, and after 3 months, you see a large ponytail of new vessels have grown all around the place. And she has got normal again. She's walking any length of time now. Here is a lady who is a dancer. She slipped and cut her spine there. They sort of disc, major surgery. She didn't want that. And we put the machine on the back, and now she is dancing again.
Continue to make war. You may love to live in a cave, like the Stone Age.
有道德的观众，愿感谢恁观赏今日的智慧之日的节目。第一届中东素食 Me Voyage 大会，请明仔载继续观赏这场鼓励人生会议的第22集。再来是伫个紧急情况下自给自足2集之一。焦点新闻后马上播出。 愿上帝永远是安尼指路明灯。
Virtuous viewers, we appreciate your presence today for the first Middle-East Vegetarian or BVEG Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 22 of this inspiring conference. Coming up next is Be Self-Sufficient in Case of Emergency, part 1 of 2, right after Noteworthy News. May the providence be our guiding light always.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
हमारे कार्यक्रम पेश किए जाते कई भाषाओं में कृपया देखें suprememastertv.com/schedule और suprememastertv.com/WOW